Hello, Stephen. Thank you very much for the introduction.
Doing?
I'm doing great. It's a pleasure to be here today
It's a
remotely.
pleasure to have you. It's a pleasure to have you and to have your company. I know, of course, that many people in the room will be eager to listen to your story and what Google has in petto in terms of AI and machine learning and the impact of machine learning on efficiency. So I am going to close my screen so that you can share yours. I will let you know if we see everything well and fine on the screen so that you can start doing your presentation. And for the people, if you have questions for Camus, then please use the chat function in the tool.
All right.
Yes, that's good. So we see a slide, your slide on the screen. So this works. So
Yes. So should I begin?
yes, you can start your presentation, and then at the end, if there is still some time, Camus, we will ask you some questions from the audience. Okay, so I am going now to mute myself and put off my camera. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. So, hi, my name is Camus. I think we already did the introductions, but I work at Google, which is an AI first company. These are all our externally facing products that you may have seen or even work with in your day-to-day life. And these are all powered by our AI. Here's a quote from our CEO, Sundar Pichai. Machine learning is a core transformative way by which we're rethinking how we're doing things, everything. So not just our externally facing product, but internally, our operations, logistics, every product internally that we design is hugely focused on AI and how we can optimize it. Now, what is machine learning? In the very crude one-sentence description, is using data to answer questions. Here's an analogy taken by Andrew Ng, one of my idols in AI. If machine learning is a rocket engine, data is a rocket fuel. And good for us that we have more and more data of higher quality. Here is a more playful example that has been highly publicized, where our DeepMind branch trained a model to play Atari games. So in the first 10 minutes, the movement of the joystick was based on luck. So it didn't do very well. But using information that learned from the first 10 minutes, over 120 minutes, as it continues to learn, the AI was able to play the game flawlessly. And over 240 minutes, we start to see strategy emerge. Now we took this one step further and trained the model, AlphaGo, to play Go, which is the most complex game on Earth, and beat the Grandmaster. Now let's shift to problems that are more relatable, such as the human language. We see AI behind our publicly facing models for human language, like Google Translate and speech to text, and entity extraction, sentiment analysis. How do we determine if a Twitter post is vulgar so it can be removed or handled appropriately? Here's another use case that is very exciting for someone who doesn't know how to drive. Using AI, we could build self-driving cars. In fact, AI has helped human progress in the recent years. But we are at the precipice of incredible change because of AI. Companies that use AI can drive 2x more data-driven decisions, 5x faster decision-making, and 3x faster execution. However, adopting AI in an impactful way is challenging. Here is an example from one of the industries that are least impacted by regulations with data, such as the finance industry or the healthcare industry. And even then, we see 60% of retailers with more than 20 pilots in progress, but less than 45% of the pilots are converted into full implementations. And 40% full implementations are high-value use cases. Our goal at Google Cloud AI is to democratize AI by making it easy, fast, and useful for all developers and users. Why Google Cloud AI? We are the industry leaders, with people running from Jeffrey Hinton leading our AI divisions. We offer choice and flexibility. We contribute largely to open source AI and ML frameworks, which are the most utilized in the industry, such as Kubeflow and TensorFlow. Quality and innovation are things we prioritize. We will never put product into GA without having it tested in production with large partners. And responsible AI is an area of AI that has been underlooked for too long. This is crucial for making AI trustworthy and integrating it into our daily lives. So we have invested heavily into understanding what is inequality and how do we build products that are fair and useful for everyone. Another mission, and we have an entire team dedicated to this, is to change the world by leveraging intelligence to create a transparent and sustainable supply chain for everyone. Last mile delivery is our huge focus, as it faces many challenges that we feel we are well positioned to address, such as consumer shipping experience. Consumers are expecting better quality, increased visibility, and predictability into shipments. Driver experience. How do drivers manage churn, and be more proficient even when they're new on the job? Fleet optimization and operations. Handling increasing parcel volumes with the same capacity and increasing complexity. At Google Cloud, here's our last mile fleet solution. While we have an end-to-end product which will be launching soon, we also have these key elements that can be executed on Google Cloud and are executed on Google Cloud today, such as address validation, route optimization using data from Google Maps, driver experience with the driver SDK, shipment tracking, and fleet visibility and performance in real time. So why Google Cloud for supply chain and logistics? These are some of the many reasons we feel we are best positioned to solve these complex problems. First, we have access to the world's information. We have the best AI, or some of the best AI in the world. We know where things are using our geodata taken from Google Maps, or our geodata that powers Google Maps, rather. We understand options. We have increasing connectivity to things, IoT devices. We have close partnerships with chip providers, as well as developed our own in-house. We integrate with analysis and scale, such as our best-in-class BigQuery for data warehousing and Looker for business analytics. We enable you to collaborate in real time with Google Workspace via Google Chat, Gmail, and Meet. Flexibility of infrastructure with Anthos, so everything you develop on-prem could run on premises as well as on cloud without changing too much code. Best-in-class security and scalability, and connectivity to business partners such as Apigee. Here is a customer that we've worked really closely with, UPS. So with UPS, we help them develop a powerful routing platform that supports delivery of 21 million packages a day. Machine learning powered by analysis of over 1 billion data points daily. And with that, they were able to save 400 million annually through intelligent routing. This is the end of my presentation. We do have a Google Cloud Digital Supply Chain Summit coming up. And this will be attended by some of our industry leaders, including the Google Cloud CEO, Thomas Kurian. So I hope you'll be able to join that as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Camus. Thank you for this presentation. You are already very far advanced in terms of artificial intelligence and also machine learning. Now, on your slides, you also mentioning that the implementation is sometimes for companies somehow a challenge. You were mentioning a figure that about 40% of full implementation are bringing high value use cases at the moment. How do you see that go forward? How do you see, let's say, the uptake of technologies in artificial intelligence and machine learning by companies?
There are many ways. First off, I think the maturity of AI ML products is increasing. Companies such as Google and other cloud providers are investing heavily into making this easier to adapt by other enterprises who don't have a large data science, machine learning, engineering team. So the usability of AI products and ML products will facilitate AI ML throughout other industries as well. Another aspect is trust in AI and ML. And this is right now, there's a lot of uncertainty around what it is, and that's perhaps is well founded. It's lack of education, and maybe we haven't, as an industry, put enough focus onto this. But we see this, the government bodies are catching up and developing rules in order to regulate the use of AI, ML, and data in general. So this will also enable areas and vectors of growth that have been blocked by such things in the past.
Okay. Good. You were talking about trust. I think indeed that is one of the key hurdles, let's say, for many fleet operators as well, many companies. With trust, we can also mention questions around security. What can you tell us about that? How secure, how safe is AI?
Mm-hmm. Security I think the most important element is protecting the user. So protecting user data. This means how do we scrub and not include sensitive information into the product. And this is also important in how we train the model, not to train on information that could be personally identifiable to eliminate bias as well. So how do we eliminate things that can potentially induce bias into the model training, such as gender, age, race, those elements is important to building trust as well. And then protection of human data and many other things, explainability, why a certain decision was made is also very important to address bias or detect it when it occurs. Because many times, or a risk is that the model performs in a way that can harm society, but most of the time, I feel, is unintentional. But we do have to be able to detect it. And this is part of the tools that we're building, investing heavily in, is explainable AI. So understanding why a model made a certain decision or why it performs in a certain way.
You also giving an example of one of the bigger customers in our industry, UPS, but that is really a global company. You mentioned millions of daily parcels, etc. Does this mean that the technology as it is today, AI and machine learning, is only interesting for the biggest companies across the globe, or is it also valuable to see what AI and machine learning can mean if you have a smaller organization?
The UPS example was great because it shows how AI ML can scale. But AI ML can be implemented and is used under the hood, under many layers by smaller companies as well. So the data from Google Maps is available to smaller companies, and it can be used to optimize routes, shipments, and deliveries. And it's being used for directions. And even when I find the shortest route to work, for instance, AI is behind this technology. So behind this, yes, smaller companies can use it. Right now, do I believe that the technology is ready to enable companies to build their own custom models? That is more challenging because smaller companies may not have the volume of data that a bigger company will have. But we do have pre-trained models that can be used, and also transfer learning, we can see it being used as well. So that's taking a model that's already trained and adjusting a bit to satisfy your own custom use case.
Okay. If we are thinking about AI and machine learning, we can also have perhaps some fear in the way that it can make human interface, human action obsolete. Does this mean that in the future, perhaps AI and machine learning will make some functions in fleet management, logistics, and so on obsolete?
AI and ML is never supposed to make something obsolete. It's supposed to enhance the performance, or perhaps jobs functions are changing all the time, and AI/ML is supposed to enhance performance and optimize the way that we work.
Okay. The final question is related, of course, to the business that we are working in. So vehicle fleet and mobility management, AI and machine learning can be adopted in almost any industry. How big do you think that the potential of AI and machine learning is for our vehicle fleet industry, transportation, and smart mobility?
Google's position, that is very crucial. This is why we have teams dedicated to making this successful in this year even. And then we have the summit with TK, our CEO, opening it, coming up, which is it's an hour. And we think that AI is very important to connected fleets because there's many optimization problems in data and optimization that's very conducive to building AI models today.
Okay. Camus, thank you very much. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for the time that you could be with us this afternoon at the Connected Fleets Conference 2021. And of course, I hope to meet with you in one of the future events of Fleet Europe and otherwise of Google. So thank you very much, and I wish you a nice day.